Still, so the plan was to head southeast?
Yeah, so the plan was to head southeast really fast so that we weren't so far east that we couldn't make a better course to St. Pete, but so that we could stay to the east of the storm if we needed to. If it didn't come into shore, or if it did even go east, we could stay away from it. But
Okay.
we wanted to get as far south as fast as we could to get below Hatteras, because we knew that it wasn't going to go ashore before Hatteras, and if we could, then we could get onto the other side and have a very, ideally, a safe trip in.
Okay.
The water was very high. Robin decided that when we could first see water on the leeward side of the tween decks, you know, because it was going to come up through the ceiling and then you start to be able to see it on the corner where the tween decks meets the ceiling planking. As soon as we could see water there, that's when he wanted everyone on deck to prep for launching the life raft and getting into the life rafts. That was the plan. Life rafts, by the way, are on the quarter, they're on the stern. And we helped all our hands aft. So we pulled them, up the nav shack and aft to the capstan, and then they took them by the hand, sent them back aft. And so they were on the weather side, on the high side of the vessel. And there's the helm, there's the mast, and there's a nice big housetop back there, so you can stay away from the leeward side. You're not going to even be able to be thrown to the leeward side. And everybody stayed very low on their hands and knees. You know, we had already talked about where we wanted to take the rafts. They're very heavy, they're like 25-man rafts, and in those conditions we weren't going to be able to move them very far. So we were going to launch them right there at the stern. As I'm getting these lines ready though, and I don't know what time this was, I think I've read that it was in some media stuff that it was maybe at 4 or something, but so 400. I heard John tell Robin that because he had looked forward, that the foredeck, the bow of the boat had gone underwater. And that's when Robin said, we got to go. But there was no time, and it took 2 seconds from that particular phrase to the vessel was on her beam ends. Not a full capsize, but went 90 degrees, and then, you know, water came up from the leeward side, grabbed onto all of us, everybody, didn't matter who you were or where you were. Those of us that were closer to the windward side had the rigging that they could try and get a hold of, and so on and so forth. And then basically everybody's stories have sounded the same. You're being thrown around, you're being caught on stuff, you're underneath stuff, you're, you know, being hit by things. But everybody was trying to make their way aft because that was the easiest way to get off the vessel, because the vessel was no longer safe, obviously.
Were you injured?
I was, but I didn't know it at the time.
What was your injury?
I broke a couple ribs. I didn't even actually know it after a day or two. I finally went and saw a doctor. He said they were broken, but they just sort of hurt.
After you were in the water, what happened?
I found a big wooden grating. Back at the stern is something that the tiller rope runs around the wheel and then goes on the deck, along the deck, so you don't trip over it. There's this wood grating that sits there. I found that and sort of was kicking away from the boat as much as I could. I was very happy to find Laura. Shortly after that, she found my grating. And then after that, sailors just sort of found me, really. I mean, it wasn't like we were all looking for each other, but all you could see was a lot of red suits and a lot of kind of yelling and stuff. We finally decided to ditch the piece of wood because we all had a hold of this line. But the Gumby fingers, you can't hold on to it was a 1/2 inch like double braid line. You can't hold on to that. You just slip when the wave tries to pull you away from the raft.
When you say the Gumby, you're talking about the immersions?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So,
we're in the life raft. There's a lot of water in the raft. At first we were worried that it might be dangerous, but seeing as how she handled the sea, we figured it probably wasn't. Nobody was in a bad mood. Nobody was like crying or upset or anything. I never felt once, like as an officer, that I had to really try to keep people's spirits up, which was great. Everybody was doing pretty well and staying positive. when we saw the helicopter for the first time, it was dawn. And that was a really relieving sort of feeling.
When was the last time you saw Robin Walbridge?
The last time I saw Robin Walbridge was as I was tying those knots. When I heard John say about the foredeck that it was underwater, I still didn't have my immersion suit all the way on, and Laura and Anna, one of the other deckhands, helped me finish putting it on. And basically I had it on, and then the ship went over. That was the last time I saw him.
When was the last time you saw Claudine Christian?
The last time I saw Claudine was when I grabbed her hand and I pulled her from the nav shack and sent her aft to the life raft.
All right, Mr. Cleveland, I'm going to stop asking questions at this time, and we're going to take a break.
Okay, cool.
We're going to take a break for lunch, and I appreciate your
Awesome.
testimony.
Thanks.